So now let's look at some genetic explanations for crime. Here we look at a link between inherited genetic traits and the predisposition to crime. In other words, children inherit certain parts of themselves or their genetic makeup from their parents. So there are biological theorists in criminology who explain that when kids have a parent who has a personality that is somewhat criminal, that they will pass those traits down to their children. So what are some of the supporting evidence to reinforce this theory, the tenets of this theory? Let's look at parental deviance. About 37% of males who have committed multiple crimes or were multiple offenders, they found that they have had a father who was also a criminal. Secondly, adoption studies. Adoption studies have indicated that when a child is adopted by a family who is non-criminal, but they had biological parents who were in fact criminal, that individual may be more inclined to commit crime. And the example that comes to mind for me is the Cipriano family, Bob Cipriano, who in 2012 was beat to death with a baseball bat by his son. I believe his son was named Tucker. And Tucker and his friend broke into the family's home one night because they were homeless. The family put him out. He was acting out. He was being aggressive. He was smoking synthetic marijuana, which was also another factor that was blamed on his violent, erratic behavior. But they attacked the father. The plan, they say, was to kill the whole family. But they attacked the father, and the son, Sal, and the mother, Rose, tried to protect the father, Bob, from being beat with a baseball bat. And both Tucker and his friend both began to attack all three of them. Well, Bob Cipriano died that night from the attack, but Sal and Rose were in a coma for more than 2 weeks, and they still have a long way to go to recovery. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because it turns out that Tucker Cipriano was adopted as a baby, and he had no real connection or any connection to his biological family. But as it turns out, his parents, either one or both, had been incarcerated for criminal behavior. They had broken the law, and they were both ex-felons. One or both of them were ex-felons. So if someone was trying to find some type of empirical support for this, you could kind of look at it, even though this is anecdotal, you could look at the Cipriano case as support for the adoption studies. And then there are the twin studies. Now, studies have shown that when you have adopted identical twins who are, if one twin is criminal, then the other one is more likely to be also, because identical twins not only look the same, they not only have the same physical appearance, but they also have very similar personalities. So if one is criminal, then the other is criminal. Might be more inclined to be a criminal as well, more than fraternal twins. So we tend to see these patterns in identical twins as opposed to fraternal twins. For those of us that are familiar with Jay-Z's raps, I forget what song that is, where he says, you know, that S-H-I-T is cray, meaning crazy. Actually, it was a reference to the Kray twins in London, who in the 1970s were terrorized London. They were involved in a criminal gang, and they were known to be very violent and murderous. So their last name was Kray. So when you say that ish is cray or that HIT is cray, that means it's crazy, but it also references the Kray twins that were both very violent, and they had very similar personalities. So one twin was argued to be more dominant than the other, that led the other twin to do the same deviant things that the lead twin was doing, but they both had very similar personalities.